So this video was supposed to be uploaded, then Epic nerfed everything, so this video is kind of irrelevant. Not really though. I more take a look into the arguments here and what people were claiming at the time. Not so much, the whole this stuff is broken. But that's pretty much it, so now you get to watch the video from the start. There you go. Use code WAMBAT. Chapter 5 Season 3 has brought a load of content to the game, but there's a few that, let's say, have caused a bit of drama. Obviously, that's the Nitro Fist, the Nitro Effect, and the Nitro Cars. And if you know the history between these two communities, let's just say it was an all-out war. Like, some of this stuff got personal. I wouldn't be surprised if it was on site with some of these guys. Now, the reason this update has garnered more attention than previous ones is not because the weapons are overpowered, even though they are. It's because it pretty significantly changes the game. And that's the conversation I want to get into now. Fortnite is known for constantly changing the game. Whether it's adding new things or getting rid of them, Fortnite is constantly trying to change the meta each season. However, how much change is too much? Because there's a limit, and I think this season has pushed that limit, at least for builds and competitive. From all the clips I've seen, there's at least been one casual begging comp players to adapt to the new meta instead of whining for a nerf. Now in most cases I agree, but this season is a little weird. The suggestions from the casuals to adapt consist of using the Nitro Splashes, using the Nitro Fists, or using the Cars to counter the Nitro Splashes, the Nitro Fists, and the Cars. The other criticism being, just shoot them, bro. Stop spam building, stop boxing up, stop cranking, stop spam building, stop sweating, stop spam building. Did I mention stop spam building? Okay. What's the first thing that comes to your head when I say the name of this game mode? Builds. If the only way of countering these items is to eliminate the very thing that makes that mode unique, that is objectively a bad change. Doesn't mean you can't have fun, doesn't mean the casuals can't enjoy it, but you have to recognize why the comp players are mad. These changes have made the very identity of this game mode useless, at least in the eyes of the casuals. If that is not a bad change, I don't know what is. Regardless, I'm trying to be neutral here, and looking at both sides, the casuals' reasoning makes sense. Every time there's been an overpowered item added, at least recently, the casuals have loved it. But then the competitive community complains because this item doesn't and didn't belong in the competitive modes. And for anyone wondering, yes, this includes ranked. This sucks for the casuals because the only fun in the season just got nerfed to the ground because comp players complained. This season has been extra fun for the casuals, and I guess this time they really don't want these things to get nerfed, leading to the mess we have now. This whole thing's a communication issue. If both, and I mean both, sides weren't so stubborn, they'd realize that the real issue at hand is Epic not separating the pubs and ranked loot pools. If this were fixed, there'd be no issues. Competitive gets a more balanced and fair loot pool, relying on more skill than whatever the fuck this is. But hey, have fun. I'm not picking sides here. Sue me. I know Epic is doing this to try and unify the community, but let's be honest here, it's caused more division than anything. I guarantee them if they split it up, the Fortnite community would be unified. It's not gonna kill you. Clearly all the things I listed above haven't happened yet, giving these two a lot of time to argue. We're gonna take a look at a few, but before that, I know a ton of casuals have already commented their thoughts, and while I think it could have been put a lot nicer, this clip of clicks is perfect. And this tweet from Rice Up.
Listen, I'm gonna clarify this real quick, bro. Nobody could give their advice on competitive if you play fucking pubs.
People who don't understand things shouldn't be commenting on them. This fits so well with what's going on right now. Just because you play Fortnite doesn't mean you understand competitive. In this case, replace Fortnite with pubs. 90% of the players who are arguing with the competitive players do not regularly indulge in competitive play. And no, plat level build lobbies and ranked 0 build do not count. You actually have to walk the walk to talk the talk, or just give me some level of receipts, because if you don't know, you shouldn't be commenting on it. Imagine if two dudes are talking about tennis, and I walk up to them explaining why tennis sucks. It's the worst sport of all time. I've never played a game of tennis in my life. Should I be mad if they don't consider my opinion? No, let me say it again to be clear. Playing the game doesn't mean you understand how comp works. Simple as that. So let's say these opinions are valid. What can we take away from the criticism? The most commonly used word among these replies is adapt. I swear, whenever I hear this word, my friggin' eye twitches like an old man shaking his fist. Just, what happened to adapting when you got full pieced, huh? What happened to adapting when you got cranked on? What happened to adapting when you whined about how Fortnite's too sweaty and all the players were too good, huh? Whew. Every time the word adapt is brought up, I think back to when the same casuals were complaining about how the game was too sweaty and wasn't fun, leading Epic to add broken items to counter those sweats, making the casuals happy, which caused the sweats to complain about them, leading to its nerf, leading the casuals complaining. The cycle repeats. Why not adapt to the changing skill level instead of whining to Epic for a broken item? The other one I love is the competitive player base is so whiny. Like, yo ass wasn't whining a week ago about the locker UI. Seriously, they're always like, why are the comp players whining about casuals? Like, what are you doing right now? I'm trying to play both sides here, I really am. But not to help my case, I want to break down why the comp players are mad at this new meta, cause they sure are valid. As I said before, competitive favors a balanced loot pool. Fights come down to skillfulness. This update negates that, leading fights to be more like, I got gloves and you didn't. This doesn't matter in pubs, but in comp, it pretty much takes the competitive out of competitive, or as they say, no skill. Again, the casuals are mad cause this complaining is going to ruin all the fun they're having by letting these items get nerfed to the ground. See, look at me, both sides. Looping all the way back to commenting on things you don't understand, I want to look at a few posts and videos by some clearly casual players and casual content creators. First off, Restro. Restro makes storyline content, and honestly, I haven't followed that in like 10 months, but luckily for me, we're looking at some of his Twitter posts. I'm just gonna establish here that I don't think Restro is a big fan of comp players. To start off, he talks about how competitive players are crybabies and are always whining while not adapting. Yeah, that last bit I already addressed, but to play back into the hypocrisy a bit, Restro is totally not innocent in the whining department. But hey, be respectful, play both sides, you're good. Now, I understand the motivation, not the delivery, but clearly there's some bias here in the way you talk about comp players. Again, no ill will towards you. Exhibit B. Clen. Now, Clen seems like a great guy, but obviously by the way he addresses this, he's never played a game of competitive in his life. Maybe he has, in like Gold 1 lobbies, but the point is, just because you play pubs doesn't mean you understand or can comment on competitive play. That also doesn't mean you're forbidden from talking about it. Just understand where you're coming from when you're giving criticism. Like here in this clip, he says, don't box up, just shoot them. Ah, yes, Clen. Click should have healed in the open instead of building, and when he got attacked, instead of using his builds to avoid being hit, he should have immediately pulled out his shotgun and started trading damage, a fight which he most definitely would have lost since he lost the health advantage when the guy broke into his box. But of course, foolish me, he shouldn't have wasted that time boxing up like a sweaty tryhard. He should have healed in the open to ensure he could pull his shotgun out as fast as possible. That sounded really harsh, and I'm sorry if I offended him or twisted his words by accident, whichever I did, please comment I did, but I couldn't find a better way to explain the amount of misunderstanding done by Clen here. And for anyone who still wants to argue, just shoot them, explain this.
Yeah, you lead to, I don't know what that is.
Oh, what the fuck? Yo! 30 HP!
At what point could he have realistically shot them? None. Shooting someone in this meta doesn't work. You'd understand this if you actually played comp. I don't want to come off as disrespectful or anything, but it just gets me going when people talk like they understand something when they clearly don't. But maybe I'm being too harsh, and Clem was just trying to give his casual take on the situation, which is fine, but I'd leave out most of the criticism since it didn't really go your way. No hate. Okay, we have a few final messages to look at, and that's actually in Clen's video's comment section. Shocker to no one, we get to hear some more clueless casual takes and some actual valid criticism. First one is sadly not though. You think people would have figured out now that after 6 years, the entire point of a battle royale has been about adapting to change. No, the point of a battle royale is to be the last one standing. While this could be directly targeted at Fortnite, I'd argue that this is still definitely not the entire or main point of the game. And there's that adapt word again. Seriously, no one's been using that word until the start of the season. One person said it and now it's every casual's catchphrase. Whoever started saying this first must feel like a king right now. I can't find the original comment but managed to screenshot some of the replies. Cars are not for build comp. Now I'm no English major, but that ain't English. What I can do is interpret what he meant. And I think he meant cars are not for builds or comp. And then someone responds with and then XJ9 Soda Pop chimes in with a shot out of nowhere. All this guy was doing was sharing his opinion and the casuals started lashing out on him. Splatted continues this argument by you can't even counter the cars when you don't build. Then Ninja Cactus says, aren't cars not even in comp lol? Why TF are they complaining about it then? Yokri GG pretty much just gives my response, it's not in tournaments but for some reason it's in ranked, which is supposed to be a competitive game mode. Then Splatted responds with, the fact that there are no separate loot pools from ranked and normal BR. The only way you can avoid the cars is by playing scrims. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a prime example of I think I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Sky Blue GB3QX responds to Splatted with, but at that point, it's not competitive Fortnite. It's the competitive version of Fortnite that all of them want to stay in. No adapting to new metas, just one standard way. If anything, I'd think you guys would have adapted by now. Figured out the best ways to attack cars, their weak points, how to cover those weak points, what weapons destroy cars, how Nitro can be used cleverly to fight different playstyles, how to counter these players with Nitro, etc. Like seriously, they give you all these toys and you start to bitch and cry about it. I pay money to see pros use the new stuff, how they'd use Nitro in their rotations, the potential for crazy endgames with fists and medallions, and instead they cry and push the nerf button. Listen here, Sky Blue. By the way you're wording this paragraph, I don't think you play comp. And if you do, word your paragraph better. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But some of the things he talks about is just overcomplicating things. He mentions, oh, we need to find the weak points of cars, you know, how to cover those weak points. The weak points are the tires in the wind. Everybody knows that. Get bulletproof tires and strafe. Like, it's not that complicated. Cars are just broken and got me to Diamond 3 for free. I've been dropping 6 kills a game. Yeah, you want to know the strat? Get a mythic car. Your game is saved. Point being, this is just overthinking. And especially with how to counter players with Nitro. Like, there's not really any competitiveness or skill involved here, dude. It's just run right into a box. And the competitive version of Fortnite they want to stay in is, well, a competitive version of Fortnite, not this. You can try and frame it that way. It's not competitive. It's no skill required. Our next post here is by Mr. Derp Scout. Skill doesn't matter in Fortnite. The fun is more important than skill. That's my opinion. If everybody used that at the end of their complaints, there would be no issue. Because at the end of the day, it's just your opinion. All of the complaints I've heard from the casuals and the competitive are people trying to state it as fact. It's not fact, it's your opinion. Casuals are really enjoying this season, the competitive players aren't. They don't have to like it. They can be quote-unquote crybabies. It's not your job to make sure they're having fun, because at the end of the day, it's just their opinion. And then, well, look who it is. XJ9 Soda Pop. Builders hate fun. They just want to play hide and seek all day. Clearly, XJ9 is not a big fan of competitive players. And I don't think it's more so builders hate fun, it's you hate builders because they ruin the fun every time they kill you. And now you're happy because, you know, you don't have to worry about that because you can run in the car all game. It's not my problem. Do what you want, but don't put it in ranked because it doesn't belong there. It's no skill. Now we have, I'm not pronouncing that name. All I'm saying is for comp, there should be comp loophole, and for regular battle royale, there should be what it is now. See, there's a few people in here that actually understand. Okay, a majority of these comments have one thing in common. They're all dogging on competitive players. I get the upheaval over the chance of one of the most fun updates for casuals being nerfed to the ground, but it also just seems that the casuals are mad because comp players are better than them. I've seen a bunch of posts replying to a clip where a comp player dies and gets mad. The replies just consist of adapt and stop whining. But like, is he not allowed to be mad? You don't have to enjoy every update. The casuals definitely weren't a month ago. May I make it clear that these posts don't involve nerf these items or remove these. They literally just rage. And I don't want to hear none of that, if you're not having fun, quit. Because comp players were having fun when fights were skilled. Now they aren't, so they're mad. Another talking point I couldn't fit into the script was casuals make up most of the player base. Why do they listen to comp? Let's be honest here, Fortnite has been focusing on other less important things the entire chapter. These new modes? Anyone? Or to play back into this guy, if Fortnite wasn't a competitive game, they wouldn't be hosting $1 million tournaments every year. And yes, Fortnite can be a competitive and casual game. Hell, it's trying to be like 5 games right now. TLDR, both sides are hypocritical, and if they just band together, they can make everyone happy by separating the pubs and ranked loot pool. PS, if you can't walk the walk, don't talk the talk. Bye-bye.